Gilmore.
What's up?
Mr.
Happy
Gilmore.
Friday.
What up, Brian?
Look at this group of people.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Lisa.
Hey.
This is special. Hello.
I was gonna say everyone's so pretty. My God.
It is a beautiful view, right?
Yeah.
All
I'll
right,
get you put on
everybody.
lipstick, so I did.
No, that's right. Yeah, listen.
Look, Tony, this was the
Girl,
best I could do.
let me get it
You
together.
know, I gave y'all a little lipstick there.
Let me put on some of this Rihanna basic
All right.
real quick.
All right,
Get it popping
everybody.
up in here. Thank you, ladies.
Look, you're doing this now.
All right, y'all. We are live and we are recording right now. So give it up one time for Mother Tongues.
Yay.
Yay.
All right, I'm gonna start us off with a poem. A conversation with the Tias. Buenos dia. I am greeted by hot coffee blowing foggy clouds of caffeine into the air. A black pool sweetened and savored since childhood. The arroz con gandule boiling to blend colors and textures rooted across continents. News reports battle salsa dancing between walls, hoping this house of a world will grow beyond machismo and a desire to be white. Headlines flash in scarlet. Se intensifican protesta en Estados Unidos. Y de la nada, this home becomes a sanctuary for supremacists. My throat sandpaper from having Black Lives Matter flame from my mouth too many times. My ears muddy banks from the flooding of All Lives Matter force its destruction through holy lands. My heart is a bomb ticking closer to eruption every time relatives insist, no somos negro. And I repeat, you are racist. Skin attempting to crawl inside out de la vergüenza of how infected my people are, a plague playing with pueblo en países to ignore they are children of la esclavitud. Dime, if saying Black Lives Matter disturbs so much, then what do you believe? Do you believe Skittles, toy guns, traffic, jogging, cigarettes, living while Black are all reasons to be killed? Do you believe melanin is a sin because you fear me for dañando la raza? Do you believe Black lives do not matter? Dime, if all lives matter, then why cut Black from your tongue, splitting yourself as you prove we both bleed red? Why gag a people with backs broken into bridges for you to cross? Why act like Brazil is not one of us? Why pretend a Klansman knows the difference between you and a Black person? Dime, si no somos negro, then quit mofongo and sancocho addictions. Never again reminisce of Loisa's beauty. You are forbidden from craving bomba y plena in any parranda. Stop frying juca like you created it. Celia Cruz is now banned. Forget Ochung, Chango, Jemaja, or Batala when your white gods of a country leave you forsaken in an undated darkness. You cannot invoke deities you deny. Do not sing hymns of a free land as you step on the neck of a Black body. Dime, if you are not racist, then accept Abuelita was Black as diamonds buried in Sierra Leone. Our hips inherited from women meant to outlast birthing the sun and no mercy. Our curls gifted by Abuelita's seed. Our veins thickened by the forests of the Congo. So if you are not racist, say Black Lives Matter until you are hoarse. Black lives mattered yesterday, and they matter today, and they will always matter. And though my voice scrapes in pain from screaming Black bodies are not disposable, I will snap my vocal cords if it means a Black baby will grow to breathe in peace while Black. Because remember, Latinidad is the fruit of rape, robbery, and slavery. There is nothing to romanticize with the erection of monuments for men who carved us to the bones. There is nothing to celebrate if you do not honor who gifted you the tan skin you worship. We would not be without Black people. So repeat after me. Black lives matter. All right, everybody. I want to thank all y'all for being here today. This is a
for
very,
that.
very, very special mother tongue. So this is our third installment. And if you have not noticed by the beautiful faces on this screen, we are amplifying Black voices, because guess what? We matter, and we always have, and we always will. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Tatiana Figueroa Ramirez. I will be your host for the evening. I want to give a shout out to the American Poetry Museum, who is presenting the Mother Tongues Open Mic based here in DC, all about the community, all about showing diversity. Great, great, great organization. I will be dropping a link in the comments as usual so that you could check them out, donate if you feel so inclined to. Special shout out to Mr. Semi Miranda, who helped me curate this beautiful group of poets that are in front of me on this screen. Yes, snap, 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 give it up, okay? We got 20 plus people performing tonight, so we are stacked, okay? So we will be blowing through this, no time to waste, but you are certainly in for a treat. I have had the pleasure of hearing many of these folks read on 1, 2, 3, many occasions, and I'm so looking forward to hearing them read again tonight. As always, be sure to show some love with the reaction buttons and in the comments section. Share with your friends, share with whoever you think needs to hear this. We can't hear you, but we still want to feel your energy, okay? This is a virtual space, but that doesn't mean this can't be a loving space either. You know, we are all about community and love at American Poetry Museum, and this space is no different, okay? So before we get started, because I want to move quickly, because I want to make sure you hear everybody tonight, I do want to mention that I'll be sharing some links in the comments section of some resources, get you connected with our readers, how to support Black businesses, and how to do your part in helping Black communities across the country, okay? So I also will ask you not only to check out those links, but also to share some links of your own. So if you have resources, if you know of organizations, if you know of people that will be useful to us and to everybody watching in this community, please feel free to share it in the comments section. Okay, I think I covered everything. I moved quickly because I want to make sure everybody makes it out of here before their bedtime, okay? Sound good? All right, so we are going to kick it off with our very first reader. Please give it up for Miss Lisa Pigram.
Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Peace and blessings to everyone. All right, this poem is called Hidden in Plain Sight. What sorcery is such to capture the moon, place it in a gilded cage, dangle the keys on foreign fingertips? The hinge creaks as the woman in ruffled white opens the door to devour my light. What alchemy swirls the spoon in the teacup where my glow is channeled, that she might drink until she is full? In her wake, I remain crescent, hungry. I hum, vibrate, beam even. These are involuntary acts, like blink or breath. They supersede will. These waves of sound, this constant rhythm that beats so beautifully against the glass, she is compelled to dance, drown her own misery to the tune of mine. This music brings her joy. She cannot reach these notes or hear the crack inside. My life force is drained, but a moon will not be extinguished. Even as it suffers, to shine is its nature. I fade, then rest before assuming my next form. Paso a paso, el remedio. Step by step, the cure. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for being here. I'm Hayes Davis. I'm gonna read a poem called Urgent Care. The skeletal image of my son's hand drops my jaw. The ghostly white and gray digits usually seen on costumes, movie screens, Day of the Dead memorials are only gentle tapering and widening, rounded ends and imagined cartilage, no muscle, and it dawns on me, no skin. He is stripped, literally, to the bone, race replaced by the strict fact of phalanx, carpals, metacarpals. For 4 minutes during the doctor's diagnosis and the brief quiet before we leave this private room, he is only boy, only limited by metal splint with blue padding, doctor's orders to play gently.
Hi, my name's Terry Cross Davis, Terry Ellen Cross Davis. Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. Thank you. And I'll read a poem called This Poem Suggests Revolution. This poem no longer consents to play mammy or to wet nurse a seething rage at her own black teat. America, your teeth have come in, you nip too much. This poem refuses to play religion. A Bible verse will not absolve you, America. If the pursuit of happiness, life, and liberty came from the Creator, she's about ready to backhand you in the face. This poem will not be your bottom bitch, America. This poem does not consent to Blackness being window dressing for the diversity brochure of a country where the board of directors never change. This poem reads the fine print on you, America. This poem consents to be black ink, a clenched fist, pepper spray, and black souls marching on asphalt, freedom for and from you, America. If need be, this poem consents to double as witness, the dotted I in the missing reparations decree. Until then, let this poem heckle you, America. Let it yell, "Goddamn, US, choke on cotton," while fanning itself and the flames. Understand this poem doesn't want to be bloodthirsty. It would rather write about the cleanse of a cloudburst than the vengeful force of a water hose. In truth, this poem courts hope. Like a Volta, it wants to turn the page, writing, America, let us pen a new document, not a perpetual union, but a chokehold removed, as a black throat breathing freely is a self-evident truth. Let these lines be facts submitted to a candid world. And this poem, when spoken or read, let it alter, let it abolish you.
That was absolutely beautiful. So I'm gonna go out right and say it. My internet is racist. It is anti-Black. It keeps on disconnecting me. But you know what? We are here and we're gonna keep on going because that's what we do, right? So on deck, we got Melody Henderson. But up next, we got C. Thomas.
Hey everybody, how are you? Thank you first and foremost, Tatiana and Sammy, for asking me and allowing me to be part of this. It means a lot. Yes, Black Lives Matter because we matter. And as a Black gay man, I must point out that the LGBTQ community, Black LGBTQ community also matters. And there's been a lot of crimes against us, Black LGBTQ community, and it's sickening because we never get mentioned. So I do want to take the time out and shout out in honor of the names of Tony McDade and Nina Pop. And may their souls rest in eternal peace. May they know life everlasting in their eternal slumber. May their names be exalted and lifted amongst every day and all time. This poem is about homophobia. Boy, I can tell you're unsettled by my presence in its bold, colorful, brilliant splendor. This flaming phoenix who rise from the ashes, catwalk for the gods, tens across the board, the audacity to show I'm rainbow after the storm. You think I don't hear what you say behind my back with your boys? After bragging about the girl you smashed last night, but really it was you, Pornhub, and a sock. Defining your masculinity by saying he got an ass like a bitch, no homo. Wearing your saggy jeans and Crayola color Reeboks makes me beg the question, who's really tasting the rainbow? I know you can't handle my confidence to exist. The affirmed smile I wear on the gloomiest of days. The way my voice sings, hey girl, with the sassiest hand wave choreographed by no fucks given. The conviction behind these brown eyes, I know living my truth unsettles you. And I get it. You're obsessed with things you can't have. Children always want the most expensive toy, but mama says you always can't get what you want. So you throw tantrum, let faggot skydive from your tongue, test the waters to see how far you can go out and swim. Was told when you play with fire, you get burned. And remember, I'm a flame, so I can set ablaze. Boy, I have just enough rainbow with the right size Timberland and torn wife beater for a beatdown you won't forget. I swear for God, you will catch these hands if you try me. Learn homophobia is a bully I bitch slap on the daily. You think you hit bullseye when you play with triggers, but playing with triggers can get you shot. So shut up. Grow into the man your mama thought you'd be. She carried you in her womb for 9 months. You owe her that. Don't be that boy who won't accept no from the girl he makes uncomfortable, but becomes uncomfortable when he think a gay man's want him and then suddenly understands consent. Boy, understand this isn't my first time at the rodeo. I've been lassoing bulls like you my entire life. Been buck wild with the best of them, put those cows out the pasture and watch the sunset. Got a caramel frap Chipotle and Netflix and chill situation on deck. Stop disturbing my day with your bullshit. I don't have you to do, but boy, the next time you see someone as fabulous as me passing you by, I hope your hypermasculinity runs and retreats like the two raisins you call cojones. May it learn the importance of being secure with self. May it learn how fragile it really makes you look. May it learn catcalling a woman and her ignoring you doesn't mean she playing hard to get. And most importantly, may it learn that Black boys that live past age 25 is a blessing, because boy, you deserve that. Thank you.
You know, I've known C. Thomas for quite a few years now. He actually hosted one of the first open mics that I performed at. He saw me as a little young baby out here in the poetry world. And one thing that I love about him is how authentic he always is. You could always tell, you know, who C. Thomas is by the way he acts, because he is not putting on a front. And I also want to mention, you know, C. Thomas brought up a really good point, is Pride Month. So happy Pride Month to everybody. I know we got some LGBTQ folks up in here, and we also got some viewers out there. There you go. There you go. Exactly. I am not a second-class citizen. No, you are not. And nobody out there is, okay? So don't let anybody ever make you feel that way. Don't let anybody ever treat you that way, okay? So I do want to bring your attention to the comments section. I know a lot of people are showing some love in there. I've also been posting some resources in there. A lot of resources that I just posted came from C. Thomas, helping out LGBTQ folk, Black folks. So please, please, please check out those resources. And again, I encourage you to share whatever resources, organizations, information, whatever you got, share it in the comment section, okay? Because this is all about helping each other out and making sure we're lifting up our community and not bringing it down, okay? So we're gonna keep it moving because y'all aren't here to hear me talk. You guys are here to listen to the poetry. So on deck, we got my very dear Daria Ann Martineau. But up next, we got Melanie Henderson. So show some love for Melanie.
Thank you all for having me today, okay? I know that we as a people today and many times in the past are just in a state of mourning. And I wanna share with you a piece because we tend to lose our babies in a number of ways. And you know, dead or alive, they are beautiful. We are beautiful. And I want to share this piece with you. It's usually pretty hard for me to read, so it's called His Corpse Was Beautiful, after Dominique Adam Dixon. Locks like steel rows of wheat, skin rich, even like mud pies, kids pad out with stubby, uncoordinated fingers and palms. His nose unsunk and prominent like a lynching tree, whose limbs decline to fail under a body's worth of weight. Those lips darkened, full as the smoke which rose slow from them, wrapped itself into the sky. The suit, I hated the suit. It was far too still for a resting person. No one sleeps in suits or boxes. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I want to take this moment and invite everybody to take a breath with me. So just a deep breath, please. One more time. Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Melanie. You know, one of the reasons why Sammy and I wanted us to curate this reading was to show the complexity and the diversity within the Black community, because no experience is the same and no emotion is the same. We feel and we experience just like everybody else. It's not going to be the same. And I think that so far we're doing a good job of highlighting that, because though it is a space of Black voices, we are all different and unique, and we all experience different emotions. And I think we need to be allowed to experience those different emotions, whether it's mourning, grief, anger, frustration, rage. We shouldn't be judged for feeling angry. We shouldn't be judged for feeling sad. Okay, we should be able to show our joy in a safe space and without guilt. We should be able to show our tears without guilt. Okay, we're strong, but being sad doesn't mean we're not. Okay, so thank you for that, Melanie. All right, on deck, we got Mr. Grum Mulat. But up next, we got my sister, Daria Martineau. So please give it up for Daria Ann.
Hi, everyone. I'm Daria Ann Martineau. Real quick, I just have to say thank you, and Tatiana, thank you for reading the virtual room and taking a moment for that breath. That was very necessary. I'm going to take a little different tone with my poem here. And two quick things to kind of give context to this piece. There are two dates to take note of that are mentioned in this poem. One being the 4th of July, which is, you know, American Independence Day. And I got married in Trinidad. I'm Trinidadian. I got married to an African-American man over 4th of July weekend in Trinidad, so that, you know, our friends and family would be able to travel to the wedding over the long weekend. The other date I want to note is the 19th of June, which for Americans is Juneteenth, celebrating the end of slavery. And for Trinidadians is Labor Day, which is, celebrating the gaining of rights for largely Black laborers. And with that, I take the title of this poem from Frederick Douglass, and it's called What to Our Family is the 4th of July. Our wedding, semi-destination in my young brown country, Black boy from Mississippi, paying your favorite aunt's airfare, her first time flying, prayers willing the plane afloat, far above oceans, lapping veracity, our landing, soft on a runway in a land of perpetual summer, our mother's embrace, your father says my father is just like me, will do anything for his kin. And my brother wishes you happy Independence Day. And you say, not really for Black folks, but we have enough to celebrate. Your sharecropper grandparents bathed in stained glass here at our church, long weekends allowing our families to be our family. I walk toward you on a runway of marble, Dad releasing my hand, your tuxedo's black glow, dreadlocks wreathing your head. You are my pursuit of happiness, our one nation under God. And next year, maybe we'll celebrate together instead your Juneteenth, my Labor Day. What need have we for independence? Instead, lift a glass to Black people building a nation, a history, Black people who could never have imagined us here. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Daria. I've heard that poem once before, and I always feel so connected to it. So I'm glad you shared that. We have enough to celebrate. That is absolutely right. So as I mentioned earlier, one of the goals with mother tongues in general is to show the diversity in our community. And that's no different for our Black community. We are full of different languages, different nationalities. So I'm really happy that our next reader was able to join us, bringing us a little bit of variety and diversity with the language piece and the experiential piece. So on deck, we've got Maria Fernanda, but up next, representing Ethiopia, we've got Mr. Grum Said Mulat.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Tatiana and Sami, for inviting me. As Tati mentioned, I'm from Ethiopia, and the poem is like an Amharic, the indigenous language in Africa, and the official language of Ethiopia. So the title is, in English, the title is Black Mother, History on Your Back. So in Amharic, ታሪክን ጀርባ ላይ እውነት እውነት የሚሸቱ እውነት እውነት የሚመስሉ እልፍ አእላፍ ትረካዎች አንድ ሰው ጀርባ ላይ አሉ። ኑሮህን አትፈልገው የብስ ባህሩን አቋርጠህ ኑሮህን አትፈልገው ታሪክ መጽሐፍ ገልጠህ በወጉ ተከትቦ በስርዓት ተሰድሮ መልካም እናት ትከሻ ላይ ይታየኛል ያንተ ኑሮ እዩት ያንን ሰሌዳ በጠመኔ የረቀቀ እዩት ያንን የጀግና ልብ በኒሻኖች የደመቀ ምን ያደርጋል ይችን ምስኪን ከሸክም ካላላቀቀ የወይዛዝር ትልቅ ዳሌ የሎጋዎች ሰፊ ደረት መች ተናግሮ ያውቃልና የኛን ታሪክ የኛን እውነት እንዲያርጎ የለም ማማር እንዲያርጎ የለም ውበት ፖለቲካው ክርክሩ ፍልስፍናው ምርምሩ ነፃ ሊያወጣኝ የሚችለው የዚችን ሴት አበሳ ሲመሰክር ብቻ ነው አጥንት የከሰከሱ ደማቸውን ያፈሰሱ እልፍ ጀግናዎች ሲወደሱ ወሽመጣቸውን የሰው ላባቸውን የገበሩ እለት እለት የሚወድቁ እለት እለት የሚደቁ የህዝቡን ሁሉ ሸክም በጀርባቸው ላይ ያኖሩ መልካም እናቶች ነበሩ በትንትን ሐሳባችን በገመዶች ተጠፍሮ ጥርቅምቅም ኃጢያታችን ጫንቃቸው ላይ ተከምሮ ይታየኛል የኛ ህይወት የእነዚህ እኛቶች ኑሮ? Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Grum. Thank you. So, and I do want to mention, Grum also works with a lot of the community here in DC. Folks who are from DC know that there is a very strong Ethiopian and Eritrean community here in DC. So I want to make sure that we don't forget our immigrant brothers and sisters who are here in our community as well. So I appreciate Grum bringing that to light here. So on deck, we've got Brandon Douglas. And coming up next, we got Maria Fernanda.
Hey guys, coming to you from Arizona. It's 109, and so I've just been trying to keep it cool. So I turned off everything so that you can just hear this poem. This is called Everything is Separated by Water, and there's an epigraph, and it goes, my partner and I cannot get married. We have wills, healthcare proxies, powers of attorney, and all of the legal forms one can have. But they all pertain to what happens if one of us should become incapacitated or die. It's not about our life together. It's about the end of it. That's Patricia Conan, and she's a sculptor who said that in 2003. So I'm reading a Zuhitsu, and I'll put it in the comments about what it is. Summer slows us down, allowing our senses to feel everything we cannot see. Asterisk. Teresa brings her arms around me in a gallery all to ourselves. Asterisk. But after searching for many years for the perfect wallpaper for my own home, I decided that it quite simply didn't exist. Asterisk. My friend and editor, Nicholas, exhales. I think your poems might be confusing perfect with a need for total completion. Asterisk. The gallery, a place I venture often and on my own, differs from dining, a screening, a crowded concert, or even a couch, all fashioned with placements. Asterisk. I have always been intrigued and inspired by the historical narrative of the decorative arts. Asterisk. Studs, hoops, Teresa's neck was so familiar with the steady swivel. Femme, stud, neither really. Asterisk. In the spaces that we designate and create, the self is made visible in the spaces we occupy. Asterisk. The floor of a columnless gallery offers a freedom to choose. Asterisk. I am weakest when she takes the leather strap off, eager for her lips to return. Asterisk. The wardrobe also represents the wants and needs of the women who turn to him. Asterisk. I love seeing Teresa on her big blue carpet, toying with unassembled parts of a wooden chair, a shelf's beam, a soft metal like aluminum, or me. Asterisk. I am entertained by the stories these patterns tell. Asterisk. I want to tell Teresa's reflection, it's the cut of her Oxford collar, not the accessories. Asterisk. I want to tell her, narrative is radical, creating us at the very moment it is being created. Toni Morrison. Asterisk. Lavender, wisteria, jacaranda trees. Asterisk. Summer doesn't ask for clarity or truth. It hazily conjures new narratives and emotions. Asterisk. Steady, at 100 degrees Fahrenheit, my uncle's porch side hummingbirds sip sugar water in Texas hill country. He says they'll return or go early this year. Asterisk. Pistachio, vanilla, robin's egg. Asterisk. Before breaking up, Tara and I model a sable sleeveless jumpsuit, a pair of slacks, an opal lingerie leotard, and other delicates. Asterisk. Yellow, cherry, dove. Asterisk, almost done. When she said to not expect much of a birthday celebration, I didn't want to face being starkly unloved. Asterisk. Lavender, wisteria, jacaranda trees. Asterisk. I, at her closet's door frame, still in the opal lingerie leotard, can at least enjoy this as the birthday. So thank you. I'm sorry if I'm turning this off. It's just, it's hot. And I don't want you guys to catch it. Thank you.
So I think B Doug is next, no?
Yes. I'll just go ahead and go. Come up video. Okay. Just a heads up. I have 2 small children that are very unpredictable. So like, if you hear like extreme bass in my voice, that's why. Okay. I gotta find the power. Okay. So I don't know what Tatiana is. I have a. Oh, you're here? Hey, I want to get recognition. I have a short poem and like a 2-minute poem. Is that okay? Or like definitely like one? I tried to like do it in the chat, but like you was gone.
Yeah, my bad. So you missed it. I think you might have missed it earlier, but my internet is racing.
I did.
So if anybody has a Black-owned internet company, please let me know so that I can just go ahead with providers. But Brandon, if it's short and you got a 2-minute, that's good. Go ahead.
Yes, I know short.
Yeah, you could go ahead and do both.
So I'm gonna say my theme at the top, and then like just do my poem. So one way that America is really violent to Black people is the prison industrial complex, and also there's just other ways like including like housing and all of that stuff, like how it's really violent and like it brings people down. I would be more eloquent, but like I don't want to like go over my time.
You good, Brandon?
All right. First poem, the short one. My brother is just another number. I watched and even helped him a little bit craft a life worth remembering, worth standing out, worth something other than the number that is now his identifier, that makes his freedom a trophy. Is this a game? Is he another notch on the belt of the system that's been whooping his ass since our father died? Sometimes grief on Black boys looks like volatile hoodlums who don't deserve anything other than jail. Not rehabilitation, not therapy. They lock people up for living angrily and never stop to figure out why. Never exploring the possibility of pain having a home in his chest. But I digress. It is called the Department of Corrections for a reason. Guess he should have been right, whatever that means. First poem. Second one. I say a lot of stuff, and I'm just gonna say it instead of explaining it. We deserve home. I don't mean mortgage payment plans. I mean the place where the heart is, where the love is. Brown skin shouldn't equate to rodents and roaches and rundown conditions. We deserve home. I don't mean white picket fences. I mean where I can feel safe, where red and blue lights don't make my heart sink. Brown skin shouldn't equate to suspicious, supervillain, something to fear. We deserve safety. I don't mean metal detectors in elementary schools. I mean the space to think without worry. I mean not being afraid to use my imagination. Brown skin shouldn't equate to paranoia, PTSD, psychological neglect. We deserve safety. We deserve safety in our homes. We deserve home, not magic tricks that pull condos out of where we used to be. We deserve home, not signals showing us out of our own neighborhood. Brown skin shouldn't equate to displacement. We deserve home. We deserve a place for our roots to deepen, a place to bloom beautifully, but instead we get the wind and shoulders cold enough to stunt our growth. We deserve to grow. We deserve a well of wealth. We deserve financial security. I don't mean breaking even with the bills. I mean enough to throw in the savings too. I mean enough for my grandchildren's children. I mean enough to give back. Brown skin shouldn't equate to exclusively blue collar work.
Brown skin shouldn't equate to maximum effort and minimal reward. We deserve access. I don't mean just a foot inside the door. I mean having a seat at the table that holds the power, that makes decisions. I mean because my resume says I belong. Brown skin shouldn't equate to being a token. We deserve access. I don't mean just a taste. I mean a full course meal and doggy bag too. Brown skin shouldn't equate to skimping on the portions. We deserve full bellies and full hearts. We deserve to be comfortable. We deserve to live our best lives. We deserve these things because we exist. Thank y'all.
Go off, poet. Yo, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for that. That was I loved it. Real quick, I want to call Maria Fernanda out real quick because I didn't get to say this after she performed. Homegirl owes me brunch because back when she was in DC, we had made plans and then she moved to Arizona and abandoned me. So I just wanted to shout that out there. But I loved your poem. Beautiful.
I'll make you some good brunch with some good DC ass food. So we'll
Sounds good. Sounds good. But I mean, I really got to say, I'm not surprised, but so far I am blown away by what everybody has shared tonight, and we're not even done yet. I do want to bring everybody's attention back to the comments section real quick. I put in a reading list there. Share it. You go ahead and read it. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with folks who need to read it, if you know what I mean. So go ahead, add books to the list, add whatever to the list, add resources, add organizations. This is all about community building, okay? So far, thank you to everybody who touched the mic. Thank you to our viewers who are watching. Thank you to everybody who is supporting this community. And thank you to everybody who's coming up because we are not done yet, okay? So on deck, we got Tony Lightfoot. But coming up next, we got Alan King. So everybody give it up for Alan King, please.
That's my friend.
Hey everyone. I just want to say that I'm honored to be reading with a lot of you. Most of y'all I've heard before. Some I'm hearing for the first time. And yeah, I mean, I was looking forward to this. I'm not going to keep going on and be fanboying everybody, but I'm really happy right now. So I'm just go ahead and jump into my piece. But I also want to thank the American Poetry Museum. I want to thank Sammy for the invitation. And I want to thank Tatiana for hosting and making things work, even though her racist internet providers ain't trying to have it. So it's meant to be. All right, so I'm gonna just jump into this piece. The Land of Innocence. A YouTube clip shows a protest ignited after police killed George Floyd, torched SUVs, overturned cop cars, armored officers retreating. All of that sinks my wife into a deeper postpartum, having made it through our personal crisis. We watched the python of despair coil itself around America, blowing out glass storefronts and colliding angry bodies as the tension constricts and crushes. We're miles from the mayhem, but a different kind of danger finds us in the maternity ward. A decreasing heartbeat, frenzied nurses rushing my wife to the OR, surgeons scrambling to save our daughter. Watching the news, I'm reminded of slogans on chaos as necessity. Real discoveries come from chaos. Chaos is beautiful and full of fertility. But when it's a violent pattern of reactions, what's the real discovery? Where's the beauty in things shattered and tagged if the same pattern of injustice ripples our lives? Maybe chaos isn't the right word. Let's try instead challenge. And since it means refuting the truth or validity of, isn't a protest a public dispute of someone else's truth, like the one about the fear of dark bodies, how it justifies us being mangled or discredited in news cycles. Wouldn't the beauty then be new laws that get us closer to becoming the people the Constitution claims it protects? Let me begin again. When my wife told me several months ago she was pregnant, we knew the challenge of this birth could take her life, just as the challenge in the hospital threatened our daughters. And isn't it an act of faith to go blindfolded into the future and be delighted by the light there? Now we're lit by a dancing star named Jade, short for Jadishala, which in Yoruba means come into wealth. She's jade, like the green stone said to emit wisdom and clarity. I'm feeding her while watching the YouTube video. Someone on screen yells, "We're better than this," and she squeals, mouth dripping with her mother's milk, smiling while dreaming her baby dreams. That land of innocence, where it all starts before we lose our way back, rationalizing our destruction. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you for that. Yeah, I feel you, friend. I'm on that same wavelength. Like, I think a lot of y'all are feeling the same thing I'm feeling, which is that thought of, I wish I wrote that, right? Yeah, yeah. And trust me, Alan, it wasn't just the mic. Like the talent, your ability to convey that and to put it all together. Whew. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your gift with us. We gonna keep it moving because the clock is ticking, okay? So on deck, we got Joel Diaz Porter. But coming up next, we got Tony Lightfoot. So everybody show Tony Lightfoot some love, please.
Hey now, how's everybody doing? So glad to be here. Thank you so much, Sammy and Tatiana, for thinking of me. I love the American Poetry Museum, so this is just awesome for me. And this is a poem written in Chicago about 20 years ago, but still relevant. Conjugating nigga. Two young Puerto Ricans wearing similar colors in a time when colors being worn at the same time by two young Black men means something a little bit more than friendship. Here I am to them, nothing more than a couple of hands wrapped around a newspaper. They feel safe here, so they speak safely. One says, "Yo, you know Raul? I'ma kill that nigga. And you know that Black nigga Joe he hang with? I'ma kill him too." I drop my newspaper. My locks turn up in a way that shows me more African than other. And they look at me. These are well-raised, sweet boys. So they are polite when they say, "Oh my goodness, we aren't racist, we ain't racist." And I am concerned because they aren't concerned about the things they should be. I said, "Are you worried that I'm upset that you would use the term nigga?" And they said, "Yes, ma'am." I said, "Oh, honey, that's not the problem in your sentence. What I need for you to do is to not kill either of them niggas."
Jesus. Tony Lightfoot, can you teach us all how to end a poem like that? Please, your class is waiting. For real though. I'm speechless. That was wonderful. So thank you. Very, very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. I'm glad I could witness that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being part of this.
Oh, and I'm with Project Vita here in Chicago. I'll send you information on it.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, before we got on to this live stream and started recording, we definitely had a little love session amongst us all. And Sammy and I are just so, so, so grateful to each and every one of you who are here part of this, sharing your gift, and to everybody watching, okay? Because this is absolutely necessary. And I know your time is not free, okay? So we really appreciate you. And I mean, y'all are showing up tonight. That's for sure. And we appreciate that. All right, so on deck, we got some more poetry royalty with Kenneth Carroll. But coming up next, we got Joel Diaz Porter. So make sure you show some love.
There goes the neighborhood.
What's up, everybody? Special thanks to the American Poetry Museum for hosting this. My poem has some words in it in Portuguese Creole. One of those words, some of you might be familiar with, saudade, which is a very intense longing, kind of like a homesickness, but you can also have it for a person. And the other word that's important is the word chuba. Chuba in Creole means rain, but because Cape Verde Islands only average about 2 inches of rain a year, the word rain also means hope. This poem is titled Seascape with Vessel. Tonight, as I pass evening hours parsing the horizon for a familiar hull, I recall my barefoot beloved who knew melancholy's middle name and often hummed of 10 brown crumbs spotting the Atlantic's azure carpet. Can we consider the amber of her single malt timbre, how it floated like a chinchirati over these waves? How with the ease of a girl rinsing sea salt from her hair or the rhythm of a boy kicking rolled up socks, she sang a fruto proibido known only to the night, or destino negro known only to the stars. Yes, she gargled bourbon every morning, and yes, soon the moon will arrive to fill the empty glass of my heart with spirits. But doesn't the sun nightly extinguish itself in the sea, longing to learn how to those whose only birthright was dust in the wind, my beloved almost seemed a siren of saudade? Why, if there was no cachupa, certain syllables of her song could sprout in our mouths, or if there was no chuba, a few of her notes could fall moist as sand after the sea's kiss. Why, even if we awake na terre longe to find the wind whispering in a foreign tongue, her voice might still carry from those 10 rugged rocks, wrinkling the aqua silk of the sea.
So dope. I mean, there was so much in there, but I will say I might have to steal that aqua silk from you at some point, with credit, of course. Now viewers, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. We got our own little private chat going on in this Zoom meeting, and I want to highlight something that somebody said, and they said that this is our protest, and I think that is absolutely true. Protest does not look the same. There is not one way to protest. I know a lot of folks are feeling some guilt and some shame because they can't be marching in the streets and they can't be physically present with the community. And I feel that. But at the same time, you can do your own thing in other ways. And for a lot of us here, poetry is how we do that. Okay. And being in community, sharing these resources, sharing these organizations, supporting virtually, supporting from afar, making sure that these messages are spread, making sure these stories are heard, making sure these names are said. Okay, so find what works for you. Okay, you don't have to be marching in the streets every day to be part of the movement. You don't have to post yourself with a sign on Instagram to be part of the movement. There are many, many ways to do your part in this. Okay, so I just want to thank all of you for deciding to be here with us today. So on deck, we got my boo, Beyond Your Definition. But up next, we got Kenneth Carroll.
Poem is called This Motherfucker for Amiri Baraka, Gaston Neal, and my father now. I wish my father were an analyst for CNN. He showed up on the set late with a Tupperware tumbler of DC ice water. His shirt open, exposing a clean white tee. His name in red cursive above his pocket, a joint behind his ear for later, a Miles tune in his head. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Carl, Wolf would say. Give us your thought on President Trump's. My father would adjust the toothpick in his mouth, look dead at the camera, and offer, this motherfucker. Silence. Wolf, because he don't know about the ways of old Black men, would ask for my father to elaborate. But this motherfucker is both intro and exposition, both preface and full thesis. My father and my mothers know this motherfucker as pillager, as kidnapper, enslaver, and treasonous rebel, as nullifier and cowardly mob, as terrorist and hypocrite, as discriminator and exploiter, and denier of restorative justice. There are volumes in the economy of words. There are collections in the canon of terse cursing. There is revolution in the deep voice delivery of this motherfucker. My father knows it's the same motherfucker as poplar hangings and magnolia rapes. The president is the same this motherfucker of red lines and segregated housing, nigger schools, church bombings. Blues man say, don't get me to talking, I just might tell the whole thing. I saw my father arrested one day for sitting on the porch with other Black men. The white lady across the alley objecting to their presence and laughter. Black men rounded up by white police, tossed in the paddy wagons for existing, a price for their limited freedom. When he returned home, my mother asked, who called the police? My father said, this motherfucker. And so it does not surprise him who sat on his porch digging the smell of honeysuckles blown by a breeze from Oxen Run and Jimmy McGriff, that the country had elected this motherfucker, a diseased genetic remnant from a long line of motherfuckers who think their ugliness can reverse time, who imagine Black people won't take the toothpick out of their mouths, remove their clean work shirts, and give them these hands. If my father were an analyst for CNN, he'd walk off the set in mid-argument as the legion of talking heads tied their tongues to their asses in fiend corporate debate. He'd dap up the union workers on the way out, spark up his joint, knowing there was never a time when we didn't resist. He'd sip from his ice water as the cabs pass him like restless clouds over the city. He'd shake his head with a wry laugh and say, these motherfuckers.
If y'all didn't know about Kenneth Carroll, now you know. Let me tell you, if I ain't never heard a real poem before, thank you. And I think my fellow readers over here agree, right? That was straight fire right there. Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you for that. All right, we're gonna keep it moving. On deck, we got none other than Brian Gilmore. But coming up next, we got Beyond Your Definition.
Thank you, everybody, for just bringing all this just Black magic into the space. Just want to uplift that Black lives matter, Black trans lives matter, Black disabled lives matter, Black queer lives matter. And I really just want to share these pieces with you all. Thank you so much for the person who was right before me. That just lifted my spirit, and I'm ready to let some motherfuckers know now. So I actually love working and doing haikus. So first I'm going to start with a haiku and then share a longer poem. So this is called Bloodletting. It's a quickie poem. So it's going to go and come pretty fast. Red blood turned dry, now brown, brown boy blood. Because when we die, we die darker. And that was bloodletting. And I want to share a longer piece. And just want to preface this by saying I was able to go out to the protest and the one that we had last Saturday during the trans, non-binary, and queer Black Lives Matter protest, was able to share this and made a sign that said Wakanda forever, because Wakanda forever. This is called Nooses Turn Gapes. It's a bird. No, it's a plane. No, it's a Black man. And he's not falling or hanging, and he's closer to the sky, and he didn't have to die first. What if in some alternate universe, Black men were seen as superheroes, all comic book characters and heroic poses, whirlwinds of tights, bronze, and brains, and saviors of damsels in distress? And when they're not working their Clark Kent day jobs at a desk, if Black men were superheroes, every bang, boom, pow would not be followed by another brother getting gunned down on the ground in a one-sided story by the police, but instead merely a bold comic book sans letters-filled fighting scene. And if Black men were superheroes, would they work in collaboration with the police, but behind closed doors so the general public couldn't see? And if my Black men were superheroes, would they finally be seen as less violent and more vigilante? And would my men of steel be able to bend steel bars so they could decrease the egregious numbers of Black men behind bars? And if most Black men were superheroes, would they be bulletproof? Would they be immortal? Guaranteed a tomorrow? I mean, sure, there'd still be kryptonite, but if my Black men were superheroes, then they wouldn't have to be Crips tonight. And if Black men were superheroes, would they finally be less disposable? And maybe we could get more positive representation in the media. And if Black men were superheroes, they could develop gills to breathe and never die on camera at the scene of the crime. And Eric Garner would still be alive if Black men were ever allowed to be superheroes. They could tell stereotypes it's clobbering time. Black male superheroes could speak every language so Diablo never dies. If Black men were superheroes, could they fall in love and live to get married to their one true Cherie, unwrite Sean Bell's story? And if my Black men were superheroes, could they live to raise their sons and see their sons raise more sons and Black superheroes, unlike Alton Sterling? If Black men were superheroes, would Wolverine use his razor sharp claws to pluck out his afro? Would people marvel at their melanin? Would Black male superheroes have to shapeshift still into something more docile, easier on their whitewashed eyes? If Black men were superheroes, would they be fast as Flash so they could always be in the right place at the right time? And if Black men were superheroes, could they control the mind like Professor X, Malcolm that is? Would they use telekinesis to mobilize all the people? And if Black men were superheroes, would you let your white sons dress up like them before they go to sleep, so that we could finally grasp onto a dream? And if Black men were superheroes and could travel through time, could they go back and save thousands of those precious Black lives? Or would nothing change? If Black men were superheroes, would you finally say their names? Or would the Batmobile get pulled over more times? Would you tell Black superheroes to pull up their tights? Will we not be good enough for Mary Jane? If Black men were superheroes and you could send up a signal and knew they were coming, would you still cross over to the other side of the street when the hooded man sweeps down on your street? If Black men were superheroes, would there be a hashtag created called Superhero Lives Matter? Then another hashtag created to combat that say all civilian lives matter too? I mean, the superheroes are the ones out there risking their lives, but it's all for good measure, right? If Black men were superheroes and it made it on the news, would you even believe the byline? Because they weren't painted as the victim or the villain this time. Thank you.
Lord, Mariah, beyond your definition, barber. If I had a handful of pens to throw at you right now, for real, let me tell y'all a quick little story. So I met Mariah a few months ago, I don't even remember when at this point, maybe like October, November or so. It feels like we've known each other for years, but it hasn't been that long. And when I saw her performing for the first time, I was like, yo, this chick right here, like she is so unapologetic with her work and with who she is. And every time you encounter her, you'll know exactly what she's about. And you got a good chunk of Beyond Your Definition tonight. So thank you for sharing a part of yourself and a part of the work that you do. All right.
Thank you.
No, thank you, yo. So, and by the way, for folks who don't know what the whole pen throwing thing is, basically it's like in the poetry world and the writer's world, when you hear something real dope, when you hear something that you just love, like some really good lines, yes, Derek, that you just like chuck it at them. Okay, you don't want to hurt them, but you just want to show your love. Okay, so we're in a virtual space. So Mariah, you ain't getting no pens at you, but you feel it though. So I also want to point out, I did put a link in the comments section for Black-owned bookstores. So if you're looking for some books, make sure to check that list out. There's probably some in your city you never heard of, or maybe you have heard of. Keep supporting them. I know this pandemic is hitting hard, so you want to make sure to support these small Black-owned businesses because we need them in our communities, okay? So on deck, we got Derek Weston Brown. And up next, we got, of course, Brian Gilmore. So everybody give it up for Brian Gilmore.
Thank y'all very much. This poem is called The Negro in Minneapolis for Prince and Philando Castile. That time I drove to Minneapolis from East Lansing to read stories with some Black people and ate niçoise salads, saw dozens of Somalians who stood outside in the cold and kicked a soccer ball all day and smoked cheap American cigarettes that clouded their spaces like in card games or bowling alleys in the old days, when life was simple, AM radio, black and white television, hot dogs boiled and eaten with mustard, George Mikan shooting hook shots for the Lakers. The city recalled that time, or maybe it was St. Paul, the other of the twins, where F. Scotts learned how to Gatsby, but also why he had to leave and go in search of his soul. Or maybe it was a Black woman poet who loved to dance, as if dancing was writing haiku, and so she threw a party for a prince who lived in the city, the same prince who zoomed to life not long after the days of boiled hot dogs with mustard. AM radio was dying, and people smoked cheap cigarettes in bowling alleys. Missed that party, but so many came to write haiku that evening, no one had space to write anything. They just danced and clapped their hands and partied like it was the end of days. Somalians ruled my evening instead, something about men darker than chunks of coal, kicking around a soccer ball with not a care in the world in one of the coldest places is reassuring, like on airplane flights, and it began serving mixed drinks at 38,000 feet. Only other thing I did in Minneapolis besides poems and stories and Somalians is jog in the snow. Flurries floated around me like confetti, like when Mikan's Lakers won it all and they were champagne drinking happy. It was a wondrous time. Did not even know that when Dred Scott once lived here as a slave long before Roger Taney declared him nothing. But that's the young blue horn on the north side here in the 20s in his father's band. And Gordon Parks played blues piano in some brothel downtown before he made magic with those cameras. And the prince of this city who zoomed to life was still alive, dreaming and writing songs and throwing parties that lasted forever. Philando Castile had not yet reached for his wallet. And then all those cameras and marchers and tweeters came running to talk about it like Joe Cap running for a first down across an ice rink of a football field to try to win it again for the locals.
Brian, for real, I think I could listen to you all day. Like, can we have story time with Brian, please? No, that was dope, for sure, for sure. All right, And I do want to share some links that Brian wanted me to share in the comment section. Make sure you check out those links, okay? Make sure you support your Black artists, especially your local Black artists, okay? Because they're your community. So make sure you uplift that. And if you have any other folks you want us to know about, you want us to amplify them, go ahead and put it in the comment section, please. So we're gonna keep it moving. So on deck, we got Dr. Jane Albedestin, but up next, we got none other than Derek Weston Brown.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey. It's so good to see your faces. It really is. Between everything that's going on in the pandemic, I tell you, it's something else. So I'm gonna read this piece called "When You're the Shut-In." All right, making sure that the microphone is on because y'all can hear me. Cool. All right. When you're the shut-in, curse my ego, curse the coin box and capitalist in my blood, curse the assembly line in my head, curse the capital R in rent, curse the closeness of rent to rend, reminding me that I am low income and assets only, and curse those generations of economic dominoes assembled so long ago, so close to falling on all of us, even on this beautiful day where the trees and sun speak freedom from my window. Praise the phone call, the FaceTime, the WhatsApp. Praise that goddamn Zoom. Praise the kindness of the chef who sends meals in gloved hands to poets and painters and dancers and builders. Praise those who think of artists and all of us vulnerable and hungering for touch, as rich as the gravy in this meal I won't refuse. Praise the compassion we house inside of us like a nearly forgotten song that rises like the newly healed, stumbling for their remembered steps. Thank you, thank you, thank you is every lyric I place on top of every tune I hear these days, replacing the panic, fear, and self-loathing etched into algorithm. Praise to every tweet or text that roars proof of life, one more who has escaped the body bag of the day. Praise to the finished meal and the hands that prepared it and the hands that buried someone today. Praise the cough that is nothing more than pollen's irritants. Praise uncut beards, no makeup, tears. Praise the whole of us, pulling the rest of us from the edge, shut in but not shuttered. Oh, praise that stranger neighbor who we now share sentences with at safe distance. Praise the laughing eyes behind homemade masks of Ankara patterns and YouTube tutored threading. Thank yous all around until the day we walk the streets bare hands, until the day we walk the streets holding bare hands, until the tendons in our fingers cramp, when we're finally off that shut-in list. Praise the thrice wiped foil wrapped plate, the check-ins on our strong friends, stubborn parents, and even the exes who remember we all were once cordial. We in here. So that's that one. Thank you. And last one, real short. It's an I'm to. So I'll explain the whole form later. Maybe I'll put it in the comments. So this is called I'm to in the key of Clifton, and it's contrapuntal. So you'll see it. Yawning. Another day alive and glittering. Me, a burst of Black Life Matter, for they have failed to snuff. Come celebrate. Yawning. Yawning. Come celebrate, for they have failed to snuff me. A burst of Black Life Matter, alive and glittering. Another day, yawning. Thank you.
Yo, Derek. You know, I've had the pleasure of listening to Derek read on a few occasions here in DC, and Derek is one of the poets that every time I hear him, I'm always in awe of his work. It is so controlled, so thoughtful, and so authentic and so honest. And I always, always appreciate that about Derek's work. And, you know, authenticity is something that I really value in poetry and in writing in general, because if you're not being authentic as a writer, as a poet, then how can anybody relate to what you're saying? How can anybody trust your work as that vessel for that message? So thank you for bringing that to us. So on deck, we got Fred Joyner, but coming up next, we got Jane. So show Jane some love, please.
Jane.
Stop that crazy thing. Hi, everybody. I miss this, but my heart feels so full. And listening to all your words, beautiful, beautiful words, and seeing your beautiful, beautiful faces. I'm just really happy. I've been crying a lot. Every time you turn on the TV, open the paper, open the internet, you just have to cry. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you, American Poetry Museum. This is called Burn. Can everybody hear me? Burn. And I'll start with a quote from Octavia Butler. In order for a phoenix to rise from the ashes, it must first burn. I am an uncontrolled burn, like a strip of land or a stutter or a curse. I live in it till the last flame dies out, my body etched by rage and dedicated to ash. Because I cannot throw my rage, I throw bricks, I throw stones, I throw bottles in the air like bullets. I am cannonade, I am tear gas, I am missile and heat seeking. I am soldier in the war you began. I am your nuclear edges turned against you and the disease you spread like a flag and then wondered why we could not breathe. Don't look in the mirror, you will only see me. I burn in pharmacies and city dumpsters. I burn in timber. I am a hornet sting. I burn in the speared flap of flesh of a flank that cannot forgive and will not forget. My rage is a foaming Joan. My rage sizzles and sparks, speaking in tongues of serpents and crossroads. Mine, ours, bubbling, a cauldron of spit, bile, shit, and tears. Burn with this. Rage is tituba, leading rue in the loam. Rage flies like Angela holding high a fist. Rage is Splinter in Alicia, Opal, and Patrice, who constructed the planks of a boardwalk we call protest. We are rage and its blood thesis. Get on up, my rage says, then soars, a stick of dynamite lit. And who am I without this but the story of a man on the asphalt with a vampire at his neck? A woman yanked from her car as she's about to put out her cigarette. A boy playing cops and robbers with a toy pistol. Another taking the long way home with a pocket full of Skittles. Who am I? Rage, but Whitman's brushed over hair of graves. An unknown in a known city, unknown street, dying, always lit, but always dying, if only to wake and wage and rage and start again into that night. Face forward, attention, and march to stymie and crush the system built to stymie and crush. Rage, ready me for war. I am inked with you. Drums and sirens compose my cadence. We are heel to heel, black and brown sons and brown and black daughters born to raging. A failed attempt to steal love from us, to deny our story, its dentistry, because what is a bite without some tooth? And you wonder why I throw a bottle like it was a rocket. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for giving me that space to get that out.
Yes. Oh my God.
To get that out. I love y'all.
Love you.
Yo, let me just say, whenever somebody questions any of your anger again, Jane, please share that poem with everybody. please, please, please. That was so dope and so necessary. So thank you for that. All right, we're gonna keep it moving. So on deck, we got the ever so dear Alexa Patrick. But up next, we got Fred Joyner. So give it up for Fred, please.
All right. I just am really thankful to be a part of this. So many of my writing heroes in the DC poetry community are on here, and so many of my brothers and sisters are on here. So I'm thankful to be a part of this. Thank you. Solidarity for Rosa. Every night, a woman at least as old as my mother, with a walk labored like my grandmother's last steps, enters my office to clean. Tonight is my last night in the building. She and I talk like old friends parting ways for the last time, or new friends leaving each other for the first. She utters a few words to me in her smiling Spanish and English. My tongue searches for the right response in my troubled Spanish. We laugh, sifting through the things our employer has instructed us to discard. We both laugh, knowing. She finds a small black pouch, big enough to hold a month's pay, in her bosom. She shows me the pouch, mimes to me how she will hide it from the night's hungry hands. She puts her hand on her chest, says El Salvador. I tell her I am from DC, Anacostia, I say. She nods, she knows. We have both learned to live well off what others abandon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I just want to take another moment to go ahead and breathe together. It's been a lot of work, right? A lot of words shared, a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions. Take that deep breath. And I just want to take another moment to go ahead and thank everybody who is here tonight. We are coming towards the end. We've only got a few more poets left. I want to thank everybody who's watching, everybody who's talking in the comments, everybody who's showing love, giving us that good energy that we've needed, because it has been a heavy couple of weeks. But, you know, my hope is that we are on the cusp of real change and a positive era for us. So let's keep moving towards that. So on deck, we got John Murillo. But up next, we got Alexa Patrick. So let's show Alexa some love, please.
Yo, hello. I am so happy to be here, and I'm just so thankful for you all, my DC, DMV poet community. I'm from Connecticut, so I don't even know if I can really claim y'all yet. I talk a lot about Connecticut in my pieces. Growing up, I was about one of 5 Black kids in a school of 1,200. So there are a lot of poems there. And I'm gonna read one of them. So this piece is called Waiting, Ode to an Almost First Kiss. He was one of the only Black boys in school. Older, an athlete, I 17, unkissed and waiting on the beach, and now a better time than ever to learn what my friends had been telling me about for years. We watched waves spill onto the sand drink its clumsy offering. My wanting making a mouth out of everything, even the moon laughed at us, 2 kids whose skin mimicked its sky. He fumbled with the moment, heavy enough to create a tide, and then broke as he told me he preferred the light shore of my friend's skin instead. My disappointment was swallowed by ocean. He was not the first or only boy to leave me buoyed. The one before him was an anonymous Valentine, and with no lighthouse to guide me, I spent my freshman year guessing his name. The one after him was a dark corner at a party. He touched me on purpose, but then walked by me in hallways without saying a word, I unable to look at him without tasting salt. For a Black girl in my town, you learned the worth of your body by the number of boys that wanted you but then didn't ask you out. Your color clandestine, unworthy of public sparkle, the kind that dances on the surface of the sound. For a Black girl in my town, you dance on your own. Shame your body for wanting anyone to touch you, validate you, your dignity and humanity, colliding horizons that create sharp reflections of yourself. All I ever wanted was to look in the mirror and be soft. Even glass thrown into the sea takes 30 years to be beautiful, but for me, waiting to be wanted, no more righteous in giving up all my edges to undeserving hands. With this boy, I was happy just to have hands that looked like my own. Maybe then his more willing to hold on, though still, and like always, the ocean releases and releases, and I wonder what moon these boys were slaves to that they kept spitting me out. What shattered images of themselves they see as its light burned their surface, and how bright that it blinded them as I disappeared inside my own dark, too Black to shine, too Black to move a body, pull it in close. I learned Black girls not worth the gravity to overwhelm a heart. Even if the boy's skin too be tarred sky, forgetting me makes him feel mighty, an ocean, and I drowned without ever touching him. Thanks.
Yo, Alexa, who told you to go off like that? I'm telling you, yo, like when I saw this lineup, like when Sammy and I were talking about everybody who's going to be joining, I knew it was going to be a good night. I knew it. But y'all are really showing up and I am here for it. And I love it. And I appreciate it so much. And I appreciate each and every one of you. So we're going to keep it moving. On deck, we got Venus Thrash. But coming up next, we got, of course, John Murillo. So give it up for John, please.
Hey, hey.
Hey, John Murillo.
What's going on? Thank you, Tati and Sammy, for putting this together, American Poetry Museum. This is dope, man. I'm seeing faces here I haven't seen in a long time, especially all together. This is a straight reunion, man. This is crazy. So this is really cool, man. So I do write my own poems, y'all know, like I swear I do. But tonight I'm gonna actually do a little DC tradition and read some OPP. I'm gonna read two short poems. One's a haiku actually, from two of my OGs, and then I'm gonna get out the way to so you can hear from some other OGs. The first one is from Reuben Jackson, who couldn't make it here tonight, but I wanted to bring his voice into the room. And it's a short poem, Black History Month. Everyone loves your people until March arrives. So, Reuben Jackson. And this poem I want to read in tribute to everyone who's been out there on the streets, on the front lines, bringing about that change that Tatiana was just talking about. And also those of us who are, if not on the streets, contributing in our own ways. I do think a new day is coming. And salute to everybody who's helping to bring that about. It's the title poem from Martín Espada's collection, Imagine the Angels of Bread. This is the year that squatters evict landlords, gazing like admirals from the rail of the roof deck, or levitating hands in praise of steam in the shower. This is the year that shawled refugees deport judges who stare at the floor and their swollen feet as files are stamped with their destination. This is the year that police revolvers, stove hot, blister the fingers of raging cops, and nightsticks splinter in their palms. This is the year that dark-skinned men lynched a century ago returned to sip coffee quietly with the apologizing descendants of their executioners. This is the year that those who swim the border's undertow and shiver in boxcars are greeted with trumpets and drums at the first railroad crossing on the other side. This is the year that hands pulling tomatoes from the vine uproot the deed to the earth that sprouts the vine. The hands canning tomatoes are named in the will that owns the bedlam of the cannery. This is the year that the eyes stinging from the poison that purifies toilets awaken at last to the sight of a rooster loud hillside, pilgrimage of immigrant birth. This is the year that cockroaches become extinct, that no doctor finds a roach embedded in the ear of an infant. This is the year that the food stamps of adolescent mothers are auctioned like gold doubloons, and no coin is given to buy machetes for the next bouquet of severed heads in coffee plantation country. If the abolition of slave manacles began as a vision of hands without manacles, then this is the year. If the shutdown of extermination camps began as imagination of a land without barbed wire or the crematorium, then this is the year. If every rebellion begins with the idea that conquerors on horseback are not many-legged gods, that they too drown if plunged in the river, then this is the year. So may every humiliated mouth, teeth like desecrated headstones, fill with the angels of bread. Martina Spada.
Very, very dope. Thank you for that, John. And I know you didn't write that, but you read that so beautifully. Because let me tell you, anybody could ruin a good poem by reading it all wrong. So thank you for not ruining those poems. And I do want to shout out Reuben Jackson. We want to send him some healing energy. You know, he's not feeling too hot right now, but he's gonna be good, okay? And you know, we were possibly talking about having a part 2 to this. So we definitely want Reuben to be included in that. So we're hoping that he gets better real soon so that he could join us once again. But John, thank you for bringing that energy into this space with us, because Reuben's definitely family over here with American Poetry Museum. All right, we're gonna keep it moving. We got our last 2 poets. So yes, drum roll, virtual drum roll, right? So on deck, closing out the show, we got, of course, Brandon D. Johnson. But right now, we've got the wildly good Venus Thrash. So please give it up for Venus.
Hey, everybody. Oh, everybody's muted. It's so good to see all of you. You all are so beautiful. And I'm so happy you're well and you're healthy and doing good. I'm just gonna, and I'm sorry for being late. I'm gonna do one poem and then that's it. It's my most recent piece. So you all get to be my guinea poets. It's called Gazebo. Strange to find a simple structure standing where Tamir once played. How peaceful it appears beneath shimmering shades of maple trees, surrounding it fully bloomed. Pockmarked cement slabs line a cobblestone walkway leading to its center, not dissimilar to footsteps caught in wet concrete, heavy as grief. Yet it isn't tragedy we dwell upon, but the boy, his unnecessary absence, his silly laughter disturbing the clouds, running haphazard and carefree through the park, skipping sidewalk cracks, real and imagined, that hideous children's game.
the toy gun, the quick trigger cop who can't discern a boy from a man, how he rises each day, shaves his murderous face in the mirror without slicing his skin to shreds, without slitting his fucking throat.
Venus, I don't care that you were late. I'm just happy that you were here to share that with us, to share your energy, share your talent. Thank you for sharing that new poem, by the way, with us all. And I do want to, again, just reiterate how special this moment is. You know, just look at all these squares. Like, who was it? Somebody joked around about saying, like, this is the prettiest Hollywood squares or something like that. And it's true. And, like, honestly, it shouldn't be so special. This should be our everyday. We should be able to step into a space and see faces like this all the time, have energy like this all the time. But that's what we're working towards, and we're going to make it happen because, like we've mentioned several times, we exist and we're here. Okay? So this is all about amplifying these voices, amplifying these messages, and making sure that we are not stepped on. Okay? So I just want to take this moment again to thank American Poetry Museum for putting this on. Thanks, Sammy, for helping me to curate this dope lineup of poets. Thank each of the poets for taking time out of their day to be here. Thank the viewers for choosing to spend their Friday with us. Like I mentioned, this is going to be saved on the American Poetry Museum Facebook page. So please, please, please share it with folks. You know, this is a special moment right here, and we want to make sure that these words are heard and these people are seen and these messages are spread. Okay, so Brandon, you gonna close out the show? Our heavy hitter. Everybody, please give it up for Brandon D. Johnson.
Well, thanks, y'all. I'm going to say it again. Thank you to Sammy and to APM. I'll be honest, APM has helped me heal over the last couple of years. Thank you to Tatiana for an excellent hosting job. Thank you to all my sisters and brothers for your wonderful work. And thank you to all of you in the audience for staying with us through all this and for this heartfelt reading. Practice. My children, every day we tell you to do some work and you take issue. We send you to school to get your brains pushed and shoved around, and you hear this, get told that, and by your actions, you tell us what you've learned. Your throats begin to use phrases I hope will stay with you. As much as they annoy me, I want you to keep on saying them. Learn the right measure of air for your lungs. Learn the proper shape for your lips, your tongue, the size of your heart. Now release. That's not fair. No, that's not right. When you're called to pick up arms against anything not physically endangering you or yours, I want to hear you let loose in the same manner as when I tell you to pick up your room. I want you to know how to say it. I want you to know why you're saying it, because one day you'll need to know how and when to say, that's not fair. No, that's not right. Whether it's in a classroom with a teacher and it's about Selma or Ferguson, whether it's lunchtime with classmates and it's about Montgomery or Boston, Mass, whether it's at the dance or the cookout or against a bully, be ready to say, That's not fair. No, no, that's not right. If it's Arkansas or Arizona, New York or Chicago, DC, Sanford, South Carolina, or Cleveland, be prepared to say it, know how to say it. Then cast your voice across the air. We want you to say their names: Eric Garner, John Crawford, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Philandro Castile, Sandra Bland, Walter Scott, Freddie Gray, Charlene Lyles, Miriam Carey, El Paso, Sandy Hook, Dayton, Miami, Breonna Taylor, Tony McDade, George Floyd. I've run out of space on this paper. That's not fair. No, no, that's not right. Make governments and men answer the same question you ask your parents. Why? You and your friends join voices with a world of young people out there right now. Let there be a chorus of that's not fair. No, no, that's not right. Learn how to yell it as loud then as you do now. Practice it with all the bass your body will allow.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Brandon, I can't think of a better poem to close this out with. I appreciate you. I appreciate your words. Again, I just want to share how grateful I am to this community, to everybody here, to everybody listening. You know, there's a lot of work that's got to be done. And this is just one piece of it. But again, I'm so grateful to each and every one of you for sharing in this space with us. Thank you to APM. Thank you to Sammy. Thank you to the viewers. Please, please, please keep on sharing these resources. Keep on sharing, you know, artists, organizations, uplift these voices, uplift these names. Make sure that it does not stop, because this is not a trend, okay? Like I said in my poem, Black lives mattered yesterday, they matter today, and they will always matter, okay? So make sure nobody forgets that. Thank you so much again. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your night. I hope you guys felt a little bit warmer in this community. I appreciate each and every one of you, okay? All right, everybody have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Good seeing y'all.
Been so